Hello, my name's Mitch. I'm an adventurer and conservationist, and I've just completed the longest climb of Mount Everest in history. So I'm here at Ellesmere Port at the Better Practice event to help support the mental health initiatives for the amazing workers in the NHS. The talk's all about resilience, mindset, and the simple steps that we can all take to achieve impossible. So the key takeaways from the talk are how you and you alone define what's possible, how you are basically the master of your own story, you're the hero of your own story, never to compare yourself to anybody else, how adversity and grief is your power, how setbacks are your power, just a small change of perspective, and how you, as I say, you're the only person who knows what the word possible means. And basically, especially for young people and for anyone listening, that anyone can follow these simple steps, the 9 pillars to unlocking extraordinary human potential, which is the same name as the book coming out. Anyone can follow these simple steps, whether you're a 10-year-old in school or whether you're a 60-year-old businessman or struggling in any way, that you can define your own possible.
I'm Duncan Law. I'm a consultant clinical psychologist, and what I do is try and improve people's practice when they're working with kids. I'm here at the event talking about some of the principles that sit behind working with goals and where they come from, about how we better collaborate with young people, how we need to think about the agency that young people have to make changes in their lives and where the limitations of those are, but also thinking about what goes on outside of either a therapeutic intervention or working with kids in schools, to think about the context in which they're living their lives, and how we might empower them to make changes outside of a therapeutic setting or a school setting where that's possible. One of my interests is about how we better collaborate with children and young people and their families, and adults for that matter, and have developed this tool called the Goal-Based Outcome Tool, and practice behind it around working with goals, of which sits really comfortably with the next step cards. Good question, what are goal-based outcomes? At a really simple level, they're just about how do we show interest in what children want to be different in their lives. That's the goal. And the outcomes are really about how we measure our own helpfulness in helping children and young people make progress towards the things that they want to see different in their lives. So goal-based outcomes, really technical language, but at a simple level, common sense level, it's just how do we monitor how helpful we're being with helping kids make changes that are important to them.
My name's Chelsea. I'm a mental health and wellbeing practitioner, and I work in a few GP practices in Liverpool. Slightly different to using the Next Step cards with adults compared to children. So we use them in GP practices, and we offer up to 6 sessions with patients, and we typically use them in the first session and then in the middle and at the end as well, just to review any changes and the goals and set some goals moving forward as well following the sessions. I found them particularly helpful, especially with people who kind of struggle to set goals, and it's really helpful in facilitating that conversation and speaking about areas of their life that they might not necessarily speak about or they're not aware of as well. When using the Next Step cards, goal-based outcomes are important because it gives our sessions a sense of direction. It really helps us have those conversations that are difficult to have, especially in the first couple of sessions as well, when we're just starting to get to know each other too. So people might be a bit quieter or a bit more reserved. So like I said, it facilitates that conversation, allows people to open up, breaks the ice a little bit as well.
I'm Lucy. I'm a mental health and wellbeing practitioner for Picton Primary Care Network. So I work across 3 different GP practices across that area. I often use them towards the end of my sessions with patients because I think it's a helpful way for them to continue on their own journey after they've left me and we've finished our work together. I think it's a good way to show different areas that they'd like to work on, something they may not feel completely 100% with, and then they know that, oh, not quite sure about my friend connections at the moment, that's an area I should continue with after our sessions.
My name's Sian. I am a outreach senior wellbeing practitioner, but my background is I'm a mental health nurse, and I work for a charity called Compass. who deliver the mental health support teams across Birmingham. At the moment, when using the Next Steps cards, it's using them to help with kind of assessment and like formulation, where we'll use the starts to see where the children are on the scale. And then looking at the different areas, kind of helping to rate them to kind of get their feedback, and sometimes it's easier for them rather than saying certain areas or topics that are difficult. They can pop the cards down, and we use them, I'd say, every so often, and I'm coming here today to have a bit of a refresher and to try and get more people within our service to use them and share the knowledge around how the Next Steps cards are really beneficial for the children and the young people we work with. With regards to the goal-based outcomes, there is also number cards that you have within the Next Step pack, and you can use them, I use them at the beginning of a session so we can see where the children are with just how they're feeling, but also when we can then use those cards to say, do you feel like you've moved up the ladder with the numbers? So it's quite a good way, without necessarily having to say, think of 1 to 10, tell me where you're at. The children can see it in a physical element. They can place the card so it actually feels like it's got a bit of meaning behind it and not just giving it a random number. So it's a nice way to link in, and it's all in the same resource, which is really nice.